So here we are in 6 Bay quarantine babyland in the kitchen. And these are my three girls that I was planning on breeding. What I've done is with the air sac mites, my flock had air sac mites. Well, a lot of them did anyway. And I had a heck of a time getting them treated properly the first time around. But I will have to go back and treat them again quarterly, probably for a year or so, because the air sac mites persist in those birds with the worst cases. They can persist in their bodies and then, of course, in the environment. So I'll have to retreat. So this is the first quarterly retreatment. Happily, only 3 birds really got sick from it. Unhappily, there were 3 hens that I planned on breeding. I think, so this is Cinnamon, from left to right, Cinnamon, McLeod, and Laurel. Cinnamon's off the breeding chart. She's sick, and I don't think it's just the air sac mites. I don't know what it is, but she's had a full treatment. She's had the antibiotics. So what happened was these are the only 3 birds that needed the antibiotics after the air sac mite treatment. The rest of them got over it. These guys got a respiratory infection. Girls, I should say. But there's something else wrong with Cinnamon. And I've tried to breed this bird so many times, forget it. There's something wrong there, and she's just not ever going to breed. But McLeod, the blue one, is actually a pied. I don't know if you can see it. I'll zoom in a little bit. She has a tiny little white spot on her chest and one above the back of her tail. So she has very poor markings as a pied. But she's the one that I'm planning on trying Porky with one more time to see if he's actually fertile. Because all the times that I tried to breed him to Coco, I ended up having to give them a treatment of calcium because she always lays soft-shelled eggs. And the calcium, of course, makes the male sterile. So they always had infertile eggs, but was it because he's infertile or because he was treated with calcium? So I'm going to try breeding him with her and see what happens there. And then if they can't produce anything, then clearly he's infertile. And then Laurel over there, I was going to breed to one of my, to Oliver, who is this guy right here, who has incredible feather, but he's kind of small underneath all that feather. Laurel, on the other hand, has lousy feather, but she's a big bird. Very tall, I should say. But they all got hit hard with the air sac mite treatment. And they are in here on antibiotics. McLeod, I think, is clearing up pretty quickly, and we'll see what happens. I'm hoping it won't completely destroy their condition, because they were due to get up next. So it's kind of a struggle. That is when the breeding shed clears out. So these birds down here are all in here because they don't need to be treated for air sac mites. They've been treated in the last month, and they'll wait for another quarter before they get treated again. Including Porky there, who I saw him going downhill, so I treated him with the individual medication, the air sac mite eliminator, as well as Beryl. So I'm sticking with that medication and not letting them have the ivermectin. But the rest of these guys are just in here because they've already been treated, and they'll go back out tomorrow when I pull the ivermectin. So there's that. Neon and Angel have a live baby in there. I can hear it going tweedly-dee. The problem being that they're in a box. It's not a real nest box. It's just a cardboard box, shipping box. And opening it up to see what's going on is a major fiasco. So I'm just going to leave them to raise their babies for 2 weeks, and then when it's time to start cleaning out the box, I'll start. I'll be able to see what's going on in there. This is Dusty. He is in the fledgling cage because he has a bum foot. I suspect I've seen these little sores on the bottoms of some of my birds' feet, especially out in the big flight. And I suspect what's happening is I've been feeding them both millet, spray millet, and I started feeding them smashed up eggs, and I think I gave some of them gout. Gout is a sickness that you get from having a high-fat diet, and basically what your kidneys are having trouble processing all the fat, and so you get sores in your feet and legs from uric acid buildup. So I am no longer going to feed my adult birds that are not breeding the spray millet. Or maybe what I'm going to do is cut it back to, instead of offering it every day, I'll give it to them as part of their dietary rotation. So they get lettuce, they get frozen vegetables, they get millet, and that's it. I probably will stop giving them the eggs, because I think the eggs are probably more responsible for this than anything. I may still I certainly will continue to give millet to breeding pairs every day, because they need all that fat to produce eggs and to feed up babies. And I may continue to give the breeding pairs eggs too. We'll see. This is one of the things I'm kind of discovering, is all of these additives and fancy schmancy stuff that people do dietarily for the budgie breeding thing, it backfires. You can poison a bird by giving it too many vitamins. As you can see, you can poison a bird or make them ill by giving them too many fatty foods. You can poison them with iodine. You can poison them with all kinds of things. So I'm backing way off of that stuff, going straight for the natural foods. So, okay, so the hope is that McLeod and Laurel here will be ready to go in the next week or so. I'm pretty confident McLeod will. Laurel got hit hard. See, she's doing that hunched over thing that they do when they got bad air sac mites. She did this last time, just really had a hard time getting past it. So, I don't know what we'll do with her. The fact that Cinnamon is no longer in the breeding program means either Hardy doesn't get bred or I have to find him another female. So let's go out and look in the girl's cage and see what I could do with him. Because I do have other females out here that aren't chosen up for breeding yet. A lot of these are babies. Look at that little guy. See that? That is, isn't he pretty? That is one of Limey and Marine's babies, the one that looks just like his mama. This baby is 6 weeks old, and he is putting on some size. He's another one that apparently got grandma's size. His brother, who's a normal blue instead of a yellow-faced blue, is not as big as him. But he's definitely just putting on the size. He's got the big breast. He's got the long body. I'm very pleased with him. I think he's going to be a winner. And this, of course, is Storm's little baby girl, with all the feather in the world, nice and tall. She's going to be a good girl, too. But she's not old enough to breed. So who have I got in here that's old enough to breed? Lavender is not old enough yet. She's this year's baby, maybe in 6 or 8 months. That is... she's a nice hefty girl. This is Royal and Matilda's baby girl. And she's got a big body, but she has lousy feather. Let's see. There's always Random. She's old enough to breed. And her sister over here, that's Pastel. I could breed her. I think Pastel's actually a little bigger than Random. But Random has slightly better feather than Pastel. That's my little baby clear body. She's not going anywhere. This girl is kind of up for grabs. She actually grew. She was so puny I thought I'd never have a use for her. But she's actually grown, and she's probably around 9 months old by now. So that's maybe a possibility. And then, of course, there's Sparky's other daughter. She's a nice-looking hen, and she's a gray-green. So she's a possibility, too. But like Haverty and Remington, she's not old enough yet. She needs to wait for another month or two. A couple of months. April 1st, I think, is the earliest I can put them out. So those two are both a possibility. All right. And I could also go one of those. But I have a lot of Rainbow's jeans running around. So I kind of might lean the other way with this. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. All right, so I do have some other options for Hardy. Yeah, all right. Let's see. So these guys out here are getting their last treatment for air sac mites today, which is why all those other birds are inside, so that they don't get the treatment. I've pulled all the females at this point. Matilda is right there. Let's see, where is Hyacinth is up there. And Breezy is right there. I just pulled Breezy today. Matilda's been out for several days, and Royal's doing a good job of taking care of his babies. Hyacinth I just pulled out yesterday, and her man had fed up those babies really well by last night. So now I'm just waiting to see how Bubba does without Breezy. But she's in here because they're getting their second treatment for the air sac mites as well. So that's one of the reasons I brought her in, even though she seemed like she was still feeding her babies. So I may end up putting her back for a little while. But what that means is that their cages are going to be cleared out pretty soon. Pretty soon their babies are going to go in the fledgling cage. In fact, Matilda's baby, her oldest one, is already out of the nest and in the cage. The problem being that the other baby, which is so much younger, is really still very, very nest bound. So I can't really put him in the fledgling cage yet because the younger baby is so not ready to do that. There's going to have to be a compromise. But also, so Stratus's babies will be ready. Probably, it usually takes about, 4 to 7 days. But those 3 cages are going to empty out pretty soon. And then about a week after that, Kelly and Sparky's cage will empty out as well. So, new breeding pairs. So I've been in here watching this. This is Hardy right here. He's ready and raring to go, but Cinnamon is not. So, and I'm going to have to switch gears on him. So we'll see. The one that's ready here is, that big guy next to Hardy, is Rocky. Rocky is ready and raring to go. He's kind of flirting with Gidget there, and I tried to pair them before, but it didn't work because Rocky wasn't ready. I'm kind of disinclined to throw Gidget back into a nest box again. She's in here getting a rest away from a nest box because the hormonal, stress that a female goes into when you put her with a nest box. She was in there for almost 2 months between Dusty and Rocky, not getting bred. So I'm kind of inclined to leave her in here, but the other lacewing female, Lacey, who's inside not getting treated for air sac mites, is also an option. So maybe I'll put Rocky and Lacey in together, accomplishing the same thing, and I'll hold back Gidget here to breed to someone else. Let's see. Gidget. I'll hold back Gidget to breed to Haverty in about a month or two when he's bigger, when he's older. But that does, so right now, I think my biggest possibility is going to be Rocky and Lacey. And the other one is Oliver inside, who I want to breed to Laurel. So we have to get Laurel back out of sick bay. And then I could pull one of those hens I was talking about for, I'm having a brain fade, for Hardy here. Hardy and Rocky have a breeding alliance. That's why they're hanging out like that. So I could pull one of those hens and put him out there. Or maybe Porky, and the other one that's ready and raring to go is Crystal here. But I want a blue male to breed her with, which would be either, see Limey? He says, I'll do it. Limey, you already contributed your genes. We need different genes. So So either Dusty or Butterfield, but I'm not sure either one of them are quite ready yet. But maybe in another week, we'll see what happens. So she's probably the next one up too. So I have all kinds of plans going on here. Cages opening up. In the next 7 days, things will change in the breeding shed. Speaking of the breeding shed, let's go take a visit.